Flipping the pyramid.
Flipping the pyramid.
Flipping the pyramid.
Flipping the pyramid.
Flipping the pyramid.co.uk.
Flip the pyramid.
Turning that pyramid on its head.
Flipping the pyramid. Flip the pyramid.
Flipping the pyramid.
Flip the pyramid. Flipping the pyramid.co.uk.
Flipping the pyramid.
Flipping the pyramid.
Flipping the pyramid.co.uk.
Flipping the pyramid.
Flipping the whole paradigm of that hierarchical system on its head.
Hello and good evening once again, and welcome to Flipping the Pyramid.co.uk, and this is the reality check once again on a Monday evening with Bluebus, and it's the 27th of August. Yes, in the UK we have what's known as a bank holiday, and traditionally it's always, raining very heavily as it has been here today, so it's a bank holiday, and it's been quite miserable. We've all had a holiday, but I don't think many people have been doing much today, especially not where I live. Anyways, welcome along, and here as always once a week doing my weekly thing, and been very busy today actually. Had people here right up till about 15 minutes ago, so managed to sort of get some space, but I did have a couple of hours to myself today, so I did get some little interesting articles that I want to speak around in this next hour or so. But welcome along. I hope you're all doing well in the chat. I haven't looked in the chat. I hope you can hear me. I think you can. Checked before. But yeah, I hope everybody's doing okay. But yeah, what a week we've had again. Lots of different things going on. Still more killings as we speak. I say this in the stories I've been seeing recently, more people being randomly slaughtered across the planet, in various disputes around borders, etc. I've seen a few horrific stories coming out of some mainstream outlets and other alternative media sources as well. Not good. Seems to be a sort of ritualistic killing fest going on at the moment across the planet, methinks. It just seems to be one thing after another. Too many stories to go into individually, but I'm sure people listening will know exactly what I'm talking about. We've had more people dying in Syria. We've had more. I mentioned the miners the other week, but there's been other stories coming out as well, and just this whole war drum still keeps beating. This sort of ramp up for sort of forcing democracy upon people, especially in the Middle East, where we have our problems like I've just mentioned in Syria. So it's all going on still, and it just makes me sit here and think. I've been trying to get my head together to sort of put this show together for the last couple of days. I try and spend a bit of time to think about what I'm going to be speaking about and seeing what's going on around me as well, not just online here. I mean, I'm talking sort of generally what's happening in my own community, and that's important as well. It's good to get a global perspective, but what's going on around us is, if not, just as important. It all links together in an energetic way. People are being affected, even if they don't know it. They're being influenced by the happenings that are going on. Even if it's just the fact that they're distracted, they're being influenced. Thinking very deeply these last few days. But yeah, they're being heavily influenced, even if they don't know it, as that famous quote, people don't know what's going on, etc. They don't even realise, they don't even know, they're just totally oblivious, but they're being controlled. They're being manipulated and steered down a certain avenue to be easily controlled. So I've been looking at things happening around me as well. But yeah, there's a couple of things I saw online before this evening. Earlier on, I was trying to get my head together to try and like I say, it's just been the last few days I've just been sort of completely distracted with my daughter, etc. So it's been quite manic. So it's normally I'll get a few hours to kind of calm things and go into my own zone, but tonight that didn't happen. So if I'm a bit sort of up in the air still, it's because I haven't kind of calmed down from that mad day I've just had. So anyways, I'm waffling. I've shut up, but I want to get into a story or something I saw today. It's actually slightly going off track, but it was something that I've been noticing recently regarding the earthquake activity. I saw on coming out the activist post today, 60 quakes strike Southern California in 16 hours. That was yesterday, I think it was now. It says, update, there have been now more than 160 quakes in the last 21 hours, it says here. And I've noticed, we were looking at maps the other day regarding seismic activity on the planet. And it seems to be, I don't know if people just put, I know in this region they're talking about, always has a lot of minor tremors. It's a known region. So this isn't news in that sense. We know it's an active, area. So just like say Japan is, and other parts of on the globe where they have regular tremors, but they have been forecasting in this area for quite some time now a big one that is due, or we're in that zone. So we've all been sort of like looking in that direction for quite some time now, but nothing's happened. But I suppose these quakes that have happened recently, some of them have been quite, I wouldn't say higher, but they're relatively low still. But just the fact that this region is seems to get more active than it has done recently is of some interest. I don't know if anyone's seen the article. I'll try and post it in the box for you in a second. But yeah, just the whole thing that's been going on. I mean, we're still suffering from our the earthquake that the Earth suffered in 2011 in Japan. That seems to have, even though it's poisoned the seas and continues to poison that area, people seem to not be sort of thinking over there, and that hasn't gone away, guys. It's still happening as we sort of jump from one earthquake to the next in such a fashion that there's so many being reported now, and the size of them as well, and the frequency seems to have intensified these last few years for sure. If you take a graph, I haven't got the data, I haven't had time to look into this, sorry guys, just stuff that I've seen, but graphs will show you the increase in the earthquake activity, especially the last 10 years. From the say 10 years previous and 10 years previous to that, the amount of activity has increased a lot, which the mainstream media tend not to sort of tell you. The shifts on the planet are getting more and more frequent. So that could be linked also to the sun activity, with the recent sunspot activity that is set to increase even further. What are we now, August, so they reckon by December, January, which is not that long away, we're going to be in line for quite a huge solar flare. I'm not here to fear and gloom and doom, but these are sort of things that could possibly happen, but I mean they won't cause damage to us as such, but to our infrastructure, our electronics, etc., they will cause major damage. So we've said this many times, it's always good to be clued up about how to look after yourself, how to make sure how do you survive without electricity or power, etc. How do you survive without communications, where people have become so used to that, used to being able to use their mobile phones, internet, etc. As you guys know in the chat, I had an experience on Friday where I had no internet for 24 hours, none at all, and just took me by surprise, because I was looking forward to listening to the show on Friday night with Red, and unfortunately my internet just wouldn't work, and I couldn't seem to get anything anything I did just wouldn't work. And so it's an experience, you think, well, I was, where was my internet? And I thought to myself, well, yeah, I mean, if everything went down, we wouldn't have this means of communication. Maybe not in the short term. Long term, things would get back up and running, but it won't be for quite some time, I'd imagine, if everything did go down. So, but being prepared to, be able to survive without that, and to, I think communities would come together naturally. I think maybe it wouldn't be a bad thing. Maybe it would bring people together, because we have become so virtualized, as Cookie says, which I 100% agree with. The virtual world is taking us over. So to a degree, it could be, not a bad thing in the sense that we're not reliant on that. We become reliant upon each other again as human beings, and that's where we've forgotten, how to do that. Maybe in family units, yes, but I'm talking, the bigger picture. This is why we've been disempowered so easily, because we've been, if you like, manipulated by the powers that be, and psycho-opt and analysed and taken apart, and they bring out their little social engineering experiments, and we quite gladly follow what we're being told to do, which is where we find ourselves at right now. So yeah, and I've gone off on track somewhere, but yes, it was all about Earth's shifting, the energy shifts, the earthquakes that are happening, and it is energy that's shifting. It's the planet moving, the living being we call planet Earth, how we use and abuse, and how we don't think a bit more deeply about planet Earth. It's a living being, for goodness sakes. I say this all the time. It's alive. It's it has a soul like we have. I mean, imagine what this Earth has created. Everything we have from this planet. Every single thing, every single chemical, everything's come from here. So maybe some things from outer space, yes, but you know what I mean. This planet has provided us with everything, and I did hear someone saying, it's bad to say, "Oh, I want to get off this planet." That's the wrong approach, completely wrong approach, and I have to agree. I don't want to get off this planet. This is my home. There's lots of areas I haven't seen yet. I've talked about this, wanting to see this planet, wanting to go and explore it, wanting to have the freedom to be able to live my life in the way that I want to live it, and that's the kind of freedom we're all denied, because we're all hooked into a society which is controlled by the people who are manipulating everything that goes on. This is what we're all about. This is what I talk about. This is the control mechanism at play, and you call crazy for speaking in this way, yeah. But the whole planet, like I say, is a living being, and to want to get off. Why would you want to get off? This is where we are. This is this is our home. There is time, yes, I do agree, to explore and to go and seek, greater understandings in the universe, absolutely, but we haven't got it right here yet. There's an old saying, get your own house in order before you start thinking about something else, and we haven't got our house in order at all. We're letting a very few people control and run this entire planet, and it's being done in such a clever and very underhanded way that the majority of people can't see it being played out. But as I say all the time, that number is increasing, the awareness is increasing, people's understandings are getting, their brains are firing in the right way, something's happening, information is available to people now. Like we say, we've got this. We do rely on this virtual computer, yes, for now, but it is letting people, if you like, become, informed and have information at their fingertips to be able to then look around at their daily lives, look around at their communities, and see, that it is taking place in front of their very eyes. All of this is happening, all of this, atrocity across the planet. Trying to explain to my daughter, who's 8 years old, it's very difficult sometimes to explain to a child, but not in a way that's going to be horrific, but just to give her an idea of this is the way the world is. There are some people in this world who just want to control and dominate you, and if you don't agree, then they drop bombs on you, which is the reality. That's what happens, and they bomb you for peace. And this is difficult to try and explain that to a child, but not in a way that is going to give them any kind of nightmares as such, but done in a way that is, how do you explain this? But people, the images that they see all of the time, the desensitization of their emotions on when they're watching, say, gory horror films or something that all children love to go and see, but are not allowed to because their parents say, no, you can't watch that. And I have that issue at the moment. You can't watch that. That's far too old for you. And I was thinking back the films that I used to watch when I was about her age, and these were the sort of Dracula, Frankenstein type movies. But she would see that as a comedy film now. I did say that to her, because the stuff that they've seen, even on normal TV now, is completely different to what we were subjected to when we were children, when the TV was trying to indoctrinate us. So the images and the type of content now is so much more powerful, and like I say, it's used as one of the main tools of control is the television and the media in general. That's their main weapon they use to get popular opinion on side. This is what some people say. I did say an interesting video where all it said was on this news channel, some people say. And that was what it was all about when they're interviewing people on mainstream music. Not mainstream music, mainstream news channels. Some people say. Well, who are these people? Again, a source says, or somebody says. Where is this information coming from? Or is it just somebody again trying to control and trying to get their ideas across? So you put up with the popular belief. Because that's what the mainstream media is promoting, or so it likes to think. Works with some, but not with others. So, interesting. But just going into a story, what I saw, again, going back to the war problem that we have. Obama, Afghanistan deaths top those of Bush now, apparently. It says here, during the first 9 years of the war, about 1,000 military personnel died, US military. Then the Obama administration decided to deploy a surge of new troops to the conflict, resulting in a dramatic increase in casualties since 2010. It took only 27 months for the US to experience 1,000 fatalities following the deployment of 33,000 more troops to Afghanistan. Of the second 1,000 who have died, 75% were Caucasian, 90% were enlisted personnel, and half were killed in either Kandahar or Helmand provinces, where the US focused much of the surge into an effort to cripple the Taliban and other forces. The average age was 26, according to the New York Times. And this Obama fellow who's up for re-election in the States now, this is the guy who was given the Nobel Peace Prize around about that time. I think was it 2008. I think he got that, and then he increases the amount of troops, which obviously increases everything else. Death being the main one, and it's again another example of how we're just not. Too many people are not paying enough attention. And like I say, the media circus rolls on. The elections in the US, when are they? November, with Obama and the other puppet, Mitty Romney? Is that the guy? I haven't really paid too much attention, but I hope I've got the other guy's name right. That's how much uninterested I am in some of the bullshit that's going on the planet right now. It's no different from the politics over here. It's no disrespect to anyone in the US. It's just the same game being played out in another part of the world, only on a much more grander scale. It doesn't interest me in the slightest, really, because what do we have? Two puppets, two master puppets, who have controllers above them. It's the same wherever you go. It doesn't change anything. So whoever gets in, it's not going to change the agenda, that's for sure. Look what Obama's done for the US. Look what he's done for you guys. He promised everything and delivered nothing. So this is what you get. It just goes to show how I think there's people in the States, they must feel aggrieved, even if they don't, even if they're not awake and aware of things, but they must feel aggrieved at the fact that this guy hasn't done anything he set out to do. And if anything, he's increased war, he's increased the problems, and the debt is massive, and the US is virtually on the brink of a civil war almost, according to some leading experts coming out of the States, politicians. They're even talking about civil war now and potential uprisings, etc., because of all these problems that have been created, not just since George Bush, but Obama's just carried on the same agenda. But the entire election campaign that he had 4 years back was just all lies, and we all knew it was lies. Everybody knew it was lies. I knew it was lies back then. It's all bullshit. Every single political party does exactly the same thing, always has, always will, under the current system. It will never tell you the truth. It will lie continually to you. And if people just feel some sense of self-satisfaction that they think, oh, I like this guy because I'm from a working class family. Again, they're not looking at, they're not getting informed. They're just association on very superficial levels with these people. They're not thinking clearly. Think. These guys are just, like I said, puppets. That's all they are. So the American election for me hasn't really drawn too much interest, because I just know how the game's going to play out. It won't change a goddamn thing. Just as we had over here when we had our coalition government put together, which was a complete joke, and now we have, a complete, mess of government over here, which it wasn't already a mess, but the very fact, how's it saying to people over here, we couldn't come to an agreement, so two governments decided, without asking the voter, just decided to create a coalition government rather than have a re-election. Oh no, we couldn't have that. Just like we can't have a referendum. We can't have referendums in this country because we're all saying no. And that's why they're frightened. They seem to be scared. So they just do what they want. So it proves to me, and to a lot of other people, it's all just a scam, the whole thing. It's just set up and run by the rich, and by people who are completely and utterly, we have to be subservient to, we have to bow down to them. And they take away your power, and they take away your freedom, and they do it in a very subtle and clever way. And when you've realised what's gone on, it's too late. They already know about you, they know where you are, they know what you do. Because we haven't, stopped this from happening, or we haven't set up some sort of non-compliance type thing, which I know was mentioned last year. The non-compliance. You have to be active. You can't do inaction. You have to be active. And non-compliance is action. Don't pay your TV license. Do something against this system. There's something that would, say to them, two fingers to you, man. I know my rights. And this is where it all starts. It's like planting a little acorn, little seed there, and just get people to think. Are you really truly free? Are you? You're not. Far from it. So it's all food for thought, things to think about. Yes, I'm getting myself upset. Not really. But anyways, I'll play a tune. I've been waffling for quite some time. Let's find a nice song to play, and I'll come back in a few minutes. What should we have? Again, I haven't had time to go through this music list. I needed to sort it out, and I didn't get around to it, but eventually I will get some other tracks put into my little folder here. I seem to be getting a bit stuck for what to play now. But yeah, have a little break, and I shall play you a bit more left field. I think I haven't played this for a while, so I'll see you in about 4 minutes, guys. Welcome back, guys, and you're listening to Flipping the Pyramid, and this is Bluebus on Monday evening with a reality check, if I can say it. And just to let you know what else is happening on Flipping the Pyramid over the coming days. Tomorrow we got, Wednesday, I always say that, it's tomorrow. No, it's tomorrow is Tuesday. Wednesday is Ian's show, punk show. And on Thursday we have Cookie with virtual shamanizing between 9 and 11. Check that out. And Red is on Friday evenings between 9 and 11 doing his music show, Conscious Beats, rap, etc. Really good stuff. Check that out. And Sunday, the return of Keelan with the Wide Shut webcast. That's on Sunday between 8 and 9. I'm assuming he's back. He said he would be, so we'll take that as a yes. So Keelan will be back on Sunday. So check him out. And like I say, it's the 27th of August, as I've said. It's still here. We're still in the same day, same time zone here in the UK. It's just gone 8:30. And it's, like I say, it's been a bank holiday here, and it's not been a very pleasant one, really. But what can we expect in this country? You know what I'm saying? We've had an awful, wet, horrible, damp, miserable summer. It's not been great. I'm kind of looking forward to the winter now. It's got to be better than the summer. I don't know, it might be colder, but might be a bit less rain, who knows. But anyways, moving along. First half hour, just giving my sort of thoughts about things. Some interesting stuff I saw today was I saw a video was regarding students take aim at military recruiting on campus. Now this is a story coming out of the States, but it did make me think, because I had seen something else recently, and I had been to somewhere as well which reminded me of a similar type of experience as what they're talking about here. It's basically the use of military recruiting in universities, and the thing that struck me was I took my daughter to a carnival event the other week, just in the local town up the road here, and they had a military recruiting little arm there with you could fire these sort of guns, or it had leaflets and handing out stuff, and obviously all the little boys were there playing with these little pretend guns and running around this little assault course, diving into little holes and things and whatever. And I thought to myself, that it's just the most wrong thing, isn't it? I mean, you've got the military recruiting future soldiers, cannon fodder, if you like. I mean, considering the stats I read out about Afghanistan, and that just scratches the surface, believe you me, of people who've died in conflict. More civilian than soldiers, that's for sure. But the fact that they're promoting this kind of thing in such an open fashion, and have been doing so for quite some time, I think. It's not just something that's recent, but in the States here, they've been, it seems to become a bit of a hot topic regarding somewhere in University of New Mexico. They were, protesting the fact that, there's, military people there trying to recruit them for the, the armed forces, and it's nothing new. It's nothing that's just happened. They've done various tactics over the years. I suppose the most dramatic one, if you go back hundreds of years, you were just rounded up. Back in the day, you had no choice. You was going to fight, whether you wanted to or not. And if you didn't, then they'd probably kill you anyway. So you basically just were, that was the kind of levels they got to. But now they use a bit more sophistication, a bit more, a bit more psychops going on, a bit more like, what a wonderful career you're going to have if you join the army. Yes, look at the things you're going to see. Look at the talents you're gonna have, and when you leave the forces, you're going to be a super duper intelligent person. No. Propaganda, bullshit. The army is for me. When I was 17, I think I got mildly interested in doing something and was kind of sucked into it a little bit, but thankfully they wouldn't have me. So that was good. It was good news for me, because I could have fallen into a horrible army kind of existence, which I probably would have realised quite quickly and got out of. But it's funny, like I say, it works very well, especially with the young, especially young men, especially young, bored, unemployed men who have nothing to do, can't find work, and they find, some kind of, allegiance to some kind of group. And because they've been indoctrinated as little boys to play with guns and to, be in that frame of mind, play the video games as well, as it's become more and more sophisticated, as it's morphed into much, higher tech now than it ever was, they're much more easily recruited. and easily sort of, bought into the idea that this is good for me. But the reality is you're probably going to come home in a coffin draped in a flag of a nation that didn't give a shit about you. That's the reality. And fighting for the Queen or fighting for your country, I mean, again, it's let the politicians do the fighting. Let them have their little wars. Why do we have to take part? But again, the social engineering that's been going on for many, 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 many years it works a treat. It fools a lot of people. It makes them believe that this is their reality. This is their, this is what they are expected to, how they're supposed to behave within it. And people have to honour and respect your decision, but it's not your decision. It's been, you've been brainwashed. Again, thinking for yourself. At the fundamental basic level of, good and bad, killing is wrong, isn't it? It's got to be. It is. It's totally wrong. So why support killing in any sense of the word? Because they propagandize people to believe that they're under threat from other bad people, and everybody starts fighting. And they use the media and everything else going, I'm talking about when you're a child here growing up, seeing all of this being played out, in war movies and all the rest of it, and then you become a soldier yourself. So you're totally desensitized. So you fight for your country, you fight for what's right. But unfortunately, you've been brainwashed into the wrong avenue and into the wrong zone. And that's the problem, and that's why we have all of these pointless deaths, wars, and like I say, it's carrying on as we speak. And it's not getting better anytime soon, it looks like. Especially with what's going on in Syria. They are really, and as we've said here, really going for the regime change over there, relentlessly using all types of techniques and methods to, destabilize the Syrian government, and they will be successful. You have to say, I mean, it's not going away. They will take Syria, whether by hook or by crook, as they say. And in the meantime, it's just another place in a faraway land, and nobody's really, paying too much attention to it because, we have our distractions over here, which, if you like, nice sedatives for people to take and to enjoy, so they can not think about things like that are too horrific or too don't talk about that. Well, we should. This is what the whole debate should be about. Stop the killing. Let's stop the mindless, senseless violence just that happens regularly. And the wars, which are just pointless, and most of them are illegal. And it's, I don't know. But the recruiting of that, it did make me think when I saw that article. There's a video with it as well, so I will try and post it if I can into the chat, so you can have a look at the vid. Because it does show them, they've got a full, if you like, assault course out, at this university for people to actually, try out if they're good at rock climbing or whatever. The video is it's only a minute or so long. But yeah, it just, like I say, made me think, because it's been going on, it goes on everywhere. But just an example of how the brainwashing and how people are, taken in by it so readily and so easily. And, unfortunately, some of them end up dead. Like I say, not to mention the civilians as well. But anyway, I'll try and move on to something slightly, a little bit more upbeat, I suppose. My links are all over the place today, and I was trying to find something that was, I don't know, just there doesn't seem to be a lot of stories around today, and because I haven't had much time to look online. It must be the bank holiday or something. And doesn't seem to be much going on, apart from those earthquakes. Those loads of earthquakes going on. Apart from that, there doesn't seem to be. I couldn't really find an awful lot. But I did see something about Monsanto, which was quite interesting, and how these again, these evil corporations, just Monsanto, one of many corporations who are, have enslaved the planet or trying to enslave the planet. And Monsanto in particular is quite a nasty little firm, nasty, horrible little corporate ick, who basically, their previous life, if you like, was, is chemicals. That's what they were into, Monsanto. It was founded in 1901 in St. Louis, and it was a chemical company basically. And it had, and as we know, we've done looking into this. It's just an oversight. It's just a, people know this already. They've been behind PCBs, Agent Orange, aspartame, all sorts of horrible things that they've either put in the food or sprayed on you. I mean, it goes without saying, but it's just a little bit of sort of refresher, so to speak, on this. It says created in 1929. It says blah blah blah. It says PCB, yes, is generally considered one of the most carcinogenic substances known to man, and it was used in plastics, transformers, capacitors, hydraulic systems, motors, and oil-based paints, among other things. It was created in 1929, and it was not until 1979 that it was finally banned. Took them a while. 20,000 residents of Anniston, Alabama, where Monsanto's plant was located, sued them in 2001 and won a $700 million lawsuit due to the toxic effects of PCBs. And in 1966, scientists placed fish in Anniston Snow Creek, and all were dead within 3.5 minutes. Finally forced to go to court, internal documents showed that they knew PCBs were toxic all along, but of course the government sided with them until the lawsuit. 1970 internal memo revealed their mindset. We can't afford to lose $1 of business, it says here. It says so much for their humanitarian agenda. Yes, Monsanto, yes, lovely company. I'm pretty sure reading that actually just brings to mind, because I didn't have a chance to read through this, that movie, was it Erin Brockovich? I was wondering if she had anything to do with that. I think maybe I'm getting confused, but it sounds a bit familiar, because the $700 million lawsuit, in its day, that was pretty big. And it says here 2,4,5-T, which is a herbicide created by Monsanto, was the main ingredient in Agent Orange, the defoliant used in Vietnam in 1949. The plant producing this herbicide in nitro WVA had an explosion which caused an illness in 248 workers there, caused by one of the ingredients, which is a dioxin. It says Monsanto was accused of falsifying scientific studies done on dioxin, downplaying its carcinogenic effects on humans. And it says during the Vietnam War, 40 million litres of Agent Orange containing 400 kilograms of pure dioxin was sprayed as a defoliant. 3 million people were contaminated, including US soldiers. The effects of this madness are still being seen today. So again, just a sort of oversight. And the other one, obviously, is aspartame. A study done on the most violent criminals in our prisons, it says here, have one thing in common. Most of these people have high intakes of aspartame and MSG. It says now we come to GMOs, which is obviously their crown jewel of Monsanto, the GMOs. And we're in that very dodgy ground now, where there's things we're buying, there's things that we're consuming. I'd say in the UK as well, but obviously more heavily in the US, where we're consuming these products more and more within, whether we know it or not. And the most sort of dangerous type of, if you like, problem with this is they're not labelling it correctly. And there's been a big debate about the labelling of foods and what's in your food. And Monsanto are resisting, calls for them to actually, promote the fact that it's a GMO product. They don't want you to know, so they're hiding a lot of things. And it says they were created to withstand their toxic herbicide. This is what they're doing. Roundup. This is the thing that got me thinking, because Roundup, the Roundup, the pesticide, the thing that they advertised a lot over here a few years ago. Roundup, which was first introduced in 1974. It was advertised as being biodegradable until they were sued. First in New York in 1996, then again a few years later in France for false advertising. They lost both cases, forcing them to remove the word biodegradable from their labels. So it says in 1996 they revealed their latest bioengineered marvel to the rest of the world, soya beans. due to the huge investment in GMOs by big agriculture. In 1992, the FDA decided not to create a special category for GMOs, thereby bypassing the need to create new laws to regulate them. That's very interesting. So again, it's all done by the powers that be. They are just letting these types of poisonous foods, these GMO crops, more and more, it's just being railroaded in with no, it doesn't matter, it's healthy, go for it, guys, a few monkeys died, what the hell, go for it. And they know full well this has a detrimental effect on our nutritional levels in our body. And I've said this many times, with Codex Alimentarius, just go and look up WHO or UN or whatever, and Codex will come up, and this will tell you why, this agenda's been at play for quite some time. The Monsantos are, the world leaders in, if you like, denutritionalizing your body by creating these Frankenstein foods, which don't hold the same energy or nutritional content that the originals do. So people are consuming this and becoming more and more ill, and are relying more and more on the pharmaceutical companies to keep them better, when it's just a basic lack of good nutrition. What am I on about? Basic levels, your magnesiums, your potassiums, and these levels, these types of chemicals your body needs to ingest regular amounts of, which people aren't getting, so the body goes into breakdown, or it develops a problem. So when people are eating more and more and more processed food, and especially GMO food, and they're queuing up in the supermarkets over here now, apparently, for all the American treats and goodies that are being lapped up, apparently. I mentioned that in my show the other week, a story about that. But again, another example of how people are just not, being aware of what, what's in their foods, what they're eating. And I think it's very important just to get a bit clued up about, your basic nutritional needs that your body needs to, feel good and feel healthy. And the chemicalization of that has, got out of control these last, especially these last 30, I'd say 20 or 30 years. And the amounts of cancer rates have spiked as a result. I think it has an awful lot to do with it. How many chemicals and what we're ingesting. We've seen, like I say, huge increase in cancers and other awful diseases. And it's all thanks to people like Monsanto, who really don't give a shit, who really don't care about your health, and really don't. I doubt you'd find anybody who works at the top level of Monsanto eating any of their shit that they grow and give out to people. I'm pretty sure the top CEOs are dining on lavish, wild beast, whatever it is that they eat. They certainly won't be eating the shit that they're giving, the masses. And it's interesting how they sold all this stuff back in the day, which was to, feed the hungry of the world, where crops could be grown, without water, etc. But no, we still see people starving to death in Africa and all across the continent. We've got lots of, it was all bollocks, just like Obama's presidential bullshit speeches, whatever politician, it's all lies, it's all crap. It's all there to give you the impression that they've got your interests at heart and they're doing good for you, when it's the exact opposite that's being, played out here, and the evidence is all around you. Again, just Google Monsanto and you'll find lots of, horrible things and things that they've done. And like I say, this is just a little oversight story regarding their evil deeds across the decades, and what they've been involved in. And like I say, these are all things that there's so much information to absorb and to take on board. And people new to this, food and the battle of your food is a war in itself. That's one angle that they've gone in at. War on your what you put in your body, and they're going to control that. They're going to control your vitamin levels. They're going to tell you if it's a safe amount of vitamin C to take or not. and they've vastly reduced the amounts of levels that you should be ingesting, say for vitamins, because they're saying they're not healthy, they're toxins. I think somebody said once, they're giving you the impression that they know best for you, when you can just get a good book from the library or go online and look at plants and herbs, and you can look at something like that, and that will give you information about things that can cure you, that are grown in your own back garden, or you don't have to rely on their pharmaceutical rubbish or their chemical foods to put you in that state where you become ill. If you ingest a lot of this stuff, I always say balance, because nobody's perfect. You can't not eat something. Sometimes you are in a situation where you will come across a drink that does have some shit in it, so you think okay, but it's about a balance, and it's about not heavily ingesting this stuff on a regular basis. I think that's not good. But I'm not here to give you a health lesson, by the way, guys. I'm just here to present you with a sort of an alternative sort of look at things in a nutritional sense. I do try and practice what I preach most of the time. Like I say, I'm not perfect, but most of the time I try and be conscious of what I'm actually eating, and what I'm eating, and what is it. So that's something that I think people, if they got a bit more aware of as well, they would radically change their health as well. And a lot of these foods cloud your mind, cloud your thinking, especially aspartame. You don't want holes in your brain, which is what I said to my daughter, and it didn't go down very well. But I was kind of just trying to prove a point there. But there you go. But trying to find a drink in the supermarket without this crap in it is virtually impossible, like I've said many, many times. So, there you go. But what time is it? It's 2 minutes to 9. Wow, that's gone quick. Let me play one more song. I'm going to come back. I think I had a couple of other little links I wanted to chat about, so I'll try and find them while this song's playing, and I'll be back in a few minutes. Hi and welcome back. It's the Reality Check with Bluebus. Just gone 9 o'clock. Go on for another few more minutes. We'll see how we go. We're under no time restrictions here. That's one good thing about this. No ads. I love it when you got no ad breaks. I was trying to listen to something the other day, and just the ads just do my head in, especially on some of these American talk shows. I think it was the Celtic Rebel thing I was listening to, and I thought I'll listen to it another time. I just couldn't get to him talking. And then there was he talked for a few minutes, and then another ad came on. It's just like Alex Jones all over again. It's like, oh my God, it's like, hold off for the ad breaks. Some of these stations just seem to just pummel you with the same stuff, and I don't really enjoy that. So I will try and listen to it. I'll spend a bit more time, but I didn't have the time this week. But so welcome back anyway. And that was it was that Logic, was it? I was playing, I think. I think it was. So to sort this music out, I'm playing the same stuff most weeks, so I hope it's not getting too repetitive for you. But yeah, one story I want to link to was what Cookie was talking about last week on his show regarding the detention of this US Army guy. Sorry, I've got the link here. I'll read it out properly so I can see it. This psychiatric detention that was handed out to this Brandon Raub, is it? Raub, I think his name is. And another story coming out of that is it says there are more veterans are having their guns seized, and this seems to be sort of like highlighting veterans who are sort of speaking out and being, as Cookie was saying in his show last week, saying that they are being, taken off the street, etc., and deemed crazy, need psychiatric help. I mean, it's getting to the point now where you do speak out now about anything, and more so if you're connected, obviously, to the military in some shape or form, because you have signed a contract with them, haven't you? I think if you've spoken out in some way, shape or form, if you're still part of that, you're still under their control. I suppose, but to throw people into psychiatric wards for just posting what are relatively not that big a deal comments on a Facebook, again, social media sites, to me was, just a little bit over the top, to say the least. But this story is basically saying that this is happening more and more, and it seems to sort of, like I say, it's as more people get with it, if you like, or get to understand, and sometimes you have to be in it to understand it. And most military who are on the ground, I mean, these guys have been in these war zones. They've seen these types of, these awful things that they, are told to do, or they, they see these people who are just, innocent women and children and men who are just trying to make a living in small villages and towns being, destroyed or killed. And they have to question that at a fundamental level within themselves. I can't, obviously there are the complete hopeless ones who don't see it, but most of the troops and people who are in this, type of environment, it has a massive effect on some of them. Some of them obviously can't handle it, and they have the post-traumatic stress disorder, which we know is, rife amongst military and people who are serving in places where, these awful atrocities are happening. And it just seems to me that it's just it's again, by speaking out you're being called crazy, and they're making it official because now actually taking you away. So again, another little sort of seed that they're planting to say you're not supposed to speak your mind, you can't have your own thoughts. There's this like self-policing, this self thing we do as human beings. We all do it. We all self-police. We think, oh, I wonder if so. But I mean, we have to get beyond that. We have to move beyond that. And as long as it's not totally offensive, obviously, it's not going to cause harm or loss to anybody, or it's going to really upset them in the sense that it's a personal evil attack on somebody, which is not necessary. But someone just having a comment, whether you agree or disagree, you should be allowed to have that comment. You should be allowed to say whether you agree with it or not. It doesn't mean to say it's going to happen, but that is your view, and that's fine. Unfortunately, people have views that are out of balance. They have views about racism. They have views about things that are really just to do with greed and conquering people. They don't see the balance. They're out of balance. That's why the world is out of balance, and it's becoming back into balance again. It's a slow process. It's painful, and people are getting it, and people are waking up. But it's a slow, almost like a rebirthing process. And people are thinking, we've had enough now. So these guys coming out and speaking out, good for them in a way. If there is another agenda behind it, which I did read something about that as well, some sort of don't sign up for any petitions or anything. If you see anything like that, don't give your email addresses out, because apparently it's a psychops by governments, the US government, to stamp out any dissidents, this kind of thing, by giving your information freely, by joining these protest groups. But obviously the story itself, in essence, you see what's going on. And again, it's another example of them using us as, not using us, but, saying we're all crazy. We don't agree with you. What happened to debates, and, it's been slowly taken away. Freedom of speech has been slowly erased, and it's been slowly, dismantled. By self-policing within ourselves, by our own self doing it, because we're too frightened to say it, and that's something that has to be overcome. And I think when we're seeing it on social networking sites, and especially Facebook, it's saying to people, look, you're not in control of this. Someone else is in control of this. And as I've said for weeks now, I'm thinking of closing my Facebook account down, because I just don't know what it is about it. Something's bugging me about Facebook at the moment. It has been for a while, and I just find the whole thing very cold and sterile. And are these all my friends? Let's be honest. Most of us have a handful of friends if we're lucky, as in real friends, people who know you, people who care about you, people who would, come and help you, or, we don't have many, is what I'm saying. We don't have 3,000, It's become another virtual reality world, where people feel good and feel, comfortable in that world. Again, a form of taking away what you're actually doing. Again, it's the people around you who are the most important people in that sense. And the Facebook thing and all of that is there's no way I mean, I don't know how many friends I've got on there, but yeah, I have met, I'd say 90% of the people on there. There's a few I've added in just out of interest for what they would post, but a lot of the people I have actually met at some point. But again, friends, yeah, well, who knows? I mean, exactly. Someone said, why don't you delete it? Or someone was saying this on a vid I was watching, delete your Facebook, and let's see how many of your real friends actually try and contact you in another way with your, say, email or whatever, phone numbers, and it'll probably be zilcho. So really, it is just a distraction, but like I say, to put on there what you want should be your freedom of choice, should be your freedom, really, but you find out very quickly it isn't, because somebody else is watching, someone else is listening, and that will always be the case. It will never be any different as long as it's in the hands of the people who've always controlled it from the very beginning, the people who gave it to us. They gave it to us because, it was all under control already. They knew how to track and monitor you and just not make it, in the public domain. And as I've said with these last few months, all the stories coming out now saying this is what's happening, you're being tracked, databased, etc., etc. So now they're just telling you anyway, but they've always done it. They've always had the technology, and they've used it to, their own ends. So, yeah, anyways, thanks for listening, because I'm going to probably sign off now. Hope you've enjoyed the show, and don't forget to tune in on Wednesday evening for Ian's show. That's the next one coming up on Flipping the Pyramid. And check out the site as well. Loads of good videos. Join the site as well. Join up if you're listening on podcast. Join up and interact with the people on the site. Myself, if I do come on, or listen to the radio shows and come into the chat as well. There's always some good chat in there, and check it out. But thanks for listening. Like I say, it's been a pleasure as always. And have a good week. And I'll speak to you all again next week. And I'll leave you with a bit of a long one, but I like this tune, and I hope you do too. And I'll speak to you all next week, guys. Enjoy.
Flipping the Pyramid. www.flippingthepyramid.co.uk. We aim to discover the truth about our world and the issues it faces.